Yeah, that's the next thing I'm working. Look like it's squished. No, right? Like yeah, it's just. Oh, wow, it is. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I gotta stop taking fish oil tablets. Fucking kill me. Hi, Neo. What's good? I'm gonna be working for a little bit on this cartoon that I'm making, and then I wanted to give Silent Hill 1 another try because I've played it on and off for a long time. I'm a huge fan of Silent Hill, and like pretty much like the whole series, even kind of the crappy games I'm strangely attached to. But I've never truly fully beaten the first game. I've gotten like to the ending, but then I get stuck. So I wanted to see how far I can get. Hi Mario, what's good? I did download it, by the way. I did not ignore your message. I did download it. My friends were playing it, but I was busy watching the Clone Wars series with a different friend last night, so I did not get a chance to actually watch it. But yeah, I want to give it a try at some point. Maybe if we have like time, then we can like maybe we could play it. You promised my son free Robux. There was a time where I was working at a school, believe it or not. This is a while ago. And I asked this one kid, I was like, hey man, you really like love to like challenge people to races. That was his thing. He loved to like run around. He thought he was like the fastest kid in school. He wasn't. He certainly wasn't slow, but there were like, you know, actual athletic kids that were much faster. And so I told him, I was like, dude, you love to run so much. Why don't you want to like go do sports or something? And he's like, I don't want to do sports. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's valid. What do you want? And then he looked right at me and he said, Robux. Maybe I didn't laugh directly at your joke, but it brought back happy memories of that wonderful kid that wanted one thing in the world, Robux. He didn't want to race. He didn't want to be in sports. He didn't want to challenge someone that might possibly beat him. He wanted Robux. That's all he wanted. You know what? I can't fault them. I love him. I love that kid. I hope he's doing well now. That was a little while ago, so he's got to be older by now. Yes, so I'm doing this. These are characters from my webcomic. This is what I do now. I just make animations of my characters from my webcomic. Sometimes I'll get messages from people being like, hey man, when's the next blind dub? And I'll tell you, I actually literally have one recorded. I just have not brought myself to fully edit it because I don't want to work on it. Which is a little like, you know, kind of a bummer for those that like it. But honestly, you shouldn't work on something that you're not proud of or that you're not like in the mindset to do. Right now, I'm in the mindset to make cartoons, to make it a pizza. Cone, would you get the hell out of here? It's also like I'm of the mind that I want to work on I want to work on this and make this like a thing that I'm actually like printing out, publishing, and making on like a recurring basis. I really love this comic that I'm making, and like the characters and the story and the writing and everything. It's the type of thing that when you start working on it, you think like, man, I'm glad I'm doing this right now. This is actually what I wanted to do for a very long time. I remember even when I was making my reviews, all the segments where I had like my characters talking to each other and like making jokes and shit, I always got like a little pang of joy out of doing that, because I was like, man, this is what I want to do. I just want like characters being funny and interacting with each other, which is probably why I eventually fell off the whole like game review thing. It was kind of going out of fashion, but I think I came to realize I wanted to just do an original story. I wanted to write, I wanted to be creative with characters. Which is why I hopped on the whole webcomic thing for a while. And I was saying like, oh, I'm making a webcomic, it's called Emerald Eyes. Oh, I'm making a webcomic, it's called Electric Forest. And now here I am making another webcomic called World to Stage. And with each one, I do not regret the fact that they were canceled or never even got off the ground to begin with. Because, you know, we call it baby steps, all right? Can't be hung up on every little thing. Good afternoon, Little Bit Greener. What is good? I'm going to be doing this for a little bit, and then once I've gotten all the like little sketches done, I was going to switch over to Silent Hill 1. So stay tuned for that. I don't know how long that'll take me. It might just be like 30 minutes of drawing, and then we'll do Silent Hill 1. We'll see where I'm at. No doubt Psycho was everyone's favorite character back then. Well, I mean, honestly, he was the most, like, recurring character. Sophisticate was, like, kind of a funny foil for him, but I never fully utilized their dynamic. The dynamic of, like, you know, the common, reserved, respectable one, and then, like, the chaotic, evil gremlin guy. I don't know, I didn't think I should commit to that because I kept fighting myself on writing these characters, even though I enjoyed doing it, because, you know, it's a review show. People don't actually like when I'm constantly fixated on my characters. People want to see me just talk about, like, video games. And I'm not even saying it's a bad thing, but you can see how that can get really depressing to realize that it's like, oh man, my favorite part of this is the part that nobody wants me to do. But hey, you know, I did enjoy the review aspect as well. Like, those jokes in isolation were also very fun. It just wasn't my favorite part. You know what I don't think I ever did a Wii game. And you do miss Psycho and Sophisticate. Sometimes I do wonder about, like, putting them in as, like, a really, really obscure Easter egg in, like, Worlds of Stage or something. I've had thoughts about putting in, like, a lot of weird Easter eggs into Worlds of Stage. I feel like I already have, but I don't remember what. Oh, well, I did put in, like, a very brief, not especially subtle reference to Trigun in, like, one of the latest panels. Theta here is talking to one of the other companions, Orozog, and she says, like, what do you believe in? And he says, love and peace, which is what Vash, the main character of Trigun, says. It's like his fucking catchphrase. So it's like I'm not above putting in little Easter eggs here and there. If I threw in a Psycho and Sophisticate, I don't think a single person outside of y'all would get it. And I do not say that pejoratively. I think like that would be a little Easter egg that only the coolest kids in class would get. Goddamn. So I've been going through like my Wii collection, and I've been going through like a bunch of wonderful Wii games, and I was looking at like the Wii library, right? I was thinking to myself, man, what Wii games are there to play that haven't already been ported to like other consoles? And I feel like I didn't research this much, but I feel like it's got to be No More Heroes. I don't know if that was like properly ported to another console. I get the weird feeling it might have been like No More Heroes 1. But honestly, I only remember that being a Wii game. No More Heroes 2 as well. I feel like that was only a Wii game. Super Smash Bros. Brawl will forever only be a Wii game because the point of the Smash Bros. Series is to have one for every single console release. Apart from the Wii U, which, well, that's not fair. There was a Brawl game that came out or a Smash game that came out for the Wii U, but it was just called Super Smash Bros. Wii U? Super Smash Bros. Wii U, I'm pretty sure. I love putting super obscure Easter eggs. That's true, yeah. That was something I loved about Channel Awesome, was they were always making references to like weird nerd internet shit that would have been more relevant to them in like the late 2000s, like that late 2000s internet, like you're the man now dog.com type of humor that me as like a little kid, like in the 2000s, 2006 or 7 when I started watching Nostalgia Critic, I would have been like 12 years old, I guess. I don't know if I would really be the prime age for stuff like You're the Man Now Dog or fucking like Is It Safe? Like all these like weird references that like Spoonie or Nostalgia Critic would make about either popular nerdy movies or just like memes, old memes that went around. But they became like jokes to me because my favorite creators were making them, even if I didn't fully understand what they were getting at. So yeah, that's my hope. That's my interpretation of what it'd be like if I start putting in little like obscure references like that. Is that people won't like fully get it, but they will think like, you know, that's just kind of silly on its own. No More Heroes launched on Wii first, but 2 was on 360 first. Don't quote me on this. It's my vague memory. I do know that No More Heroes 2 is on the Wii. I don't know of its like exact history though. It's something like No More Heroes 1 felt like a Wii game. Like that was the whole point, is that it's like, oh, you're swinging around a lightsaber. Excuse me, a beam sword. Like that's the whole appeal was that. Whereas like the second game, I felt like they were a little more like, okay, let's just focus on like Travis Touchdown and this like Scott Pilgrim versus the World shit. I was playing a little bit of it. I mentioned it before, in like the last stream, that when I was getting through like that opening cutscene, I was like, man, this cutscene feels like really weird and jank. Like, and also, I really don't know how I feel about Travis Touchdown. He just seems like such a, like, dumb character. But the second the gameplay started and I stabbed someone with a fucking pile of blood just erupting out of someone, blood and gold coins, that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. This is actually kind of sick as hell. Another silly running gag I have with this character in particular, Theta, is that she wears this tiara. She's a priestess of the death god Mortinosus. Not important. What is important is that she wears this tiara that has a little, like, skull face on it. This skull face is not alive. It's not, like, it doesn't have thoughts or feelings or need to eat or anything like that. But whatever face Theta is making, I always draw the little skull face to make it too. Just because, you know, it's a comic, so it makes the panels a little more interesting when you're always looking at the tiara like, is it making the face? It is making the face. I like that. There's a big poll right now for like mid-2000s, or not even mid, just like 2000s nostalgia memes. I've been seeing a lot of takes on the whole, like, you wake up and it's the mid-2000s, nobody knows what modern memes are anymore. You can now, like, go and play, like, fucking God of War or whatever. I remember when I first read a meme like that, it actually, like, got me slightly emotional. Like, the idea of just waking up and you're, like, a little kid again. You know what's wild, though, is I was thinking about that. I was talking to my boyfriend about this as well. Is that, like, those memes are meant to kind of invoke that nostalgic, oh gosh, if I could only just go back to the good old days of being a child when life was simple. Life was admittedly a lot more simple when I was a kid, for sure. I'm not arguing that. Here's the deal, though. I don't want to go back to being a kid and then relive my childhood. I do not want to do that. My childhood was perfectly serviceable and fine, and I do not want to go back to it. I would like to watch a DVD of my past life. I would like to be able to look at my past and see little snippets, little memories of stuff that I had experienced. That would be really cool. To go back and relive it, I don't know, man. I grew up with, like, special ed classes and stuff, which weren't bad at all, but, like, pretty much everyone in my school thought that I was autistic, which I'm not. Which is not even, which by, like, today's standards is a lot more normal, but definitely when I was a little kid in elementary school, I was treated very, very differently. Because I had special ed classes. I had the classes because I grew up with something called sensory integration, which basically meant that I just have, like, some sensory stuff. There's certain, like, even as an adult nowadays, I have this thing with, like, textures or certain smells where it's just way too much. You know when you smell something stinky and you're like, oh, fuck. A lot of smells to me are just the fucking worst, and I just can't stand them. But that's really it, and technically, just because of the way we organize our like neurological patterns, technically that falls under the spectrum. But technically, I'm not on the spectrum of autism. It's like it's how do I explain this? People with autism tend to always have sensory stuff as well, but I just have sensory stuff. So I don't have autism, I just have a thing that autistic people have. I think that's what I'm getting at. But yeah, for that reason, most people just assumed that I was autistic and I would be called retard. Pretty sick. So if I were to go and relive that, I don't want to do that. just personally, I don't want to do that. Currently drawing and the legs are just not happening. Ah, bro. You can do it. Go to Pinterest. Go to Pinterest. Look up references of legs. Sometimes on Pinterest, they will even have, like, instructional guides where it's like, you know, you've probably seen this, like a big long sheet of paper, and it shows, like, how to draw legs. Like, here's the breakdown. Oh, think about legs as, like, sausages, you know? And then, like, put the sausages together. Put a bone inside the sausage. That's how you make a leg. You'll find those on Pinterest. Every time you say blood, I think of the joke you made in your God of War video. joke did I make in my God of War video? That God of War video is like... That's cool. Every time I think of that God of War video, I'm like, man, the video would have been a lot better if I just made it like I make a normal review and I didn't like film it on a weird green screen. That was me definitely just using the fact that I had a green screen. But I guess I also didn't write a script for that one. That one was real strange. It certainly went over fine. People liked it. I even like it to an extent. I don't think it's bad or anything. But it felt like a weird, like, black sheep to how I usually would do reviews, where I would, you know, write the script, get some gameplay, etc., etc. With that one, I was just like, I have a green screen and opinions about God of War and also a Banjo-Kazooie for some reason. And so I'm just going to put them together and start talking. I think for a long time, I was always trying to make, like, videos where I'm just chatting and then just edit the chatter, you know? As time went on, I became less and less attracted to writing scripts first. Like, I hated the process of writing the script and, like, having to, like, put all the pieces together meticulously. I would just get so disinterested over time. Trying to draw boobies. Yuck. Okay, kind of want to forget your childhood. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, your younger years are very formative, and much like life, there's lots of... Oh, the fucking blood, tits, gore. I took that audio from a Lanny Pator review that I don't even know if it exists anymore. Blood, gore, blood, tits, gore. Yeah, no, the full thing was he was talking about Berserk, the voice actor who you may probably know from the Dragon Ball Z Abridged, the guy who would do the voice of Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Briefly, he did not stay dedicated to this, but he briefly made reviews of, like, anime stuff. They were not great, but to be fair, they were about as good as anything on That Guy with the Glasses at the time. So I was like, hell yeah, great. And I love Lanny Pator. He's such a, like, wonderful and fun voice actor. But he was talking about, like, what Berserk is all about or something. And he just had this interlude of everyone being, like, stabbed to death and, like, ripped in half. And he was like, blood, gore, blood, tits, gore. Oh, look there. No, it's like, giant sword. Oh, there's a demon. Oh, but now he's got to trap because of all this gore. Ah! Stupid. But I was cracking my ass off listening to that stuff. I must have been like 15 or 16 years old, and I just thought that was like the funniest thing ever. Very nostalgic, a lot of nostalgia. I'm very, you know, in hindsight, I'm so glad that I dug that up, because I don't even know if that Lanny Pator review exists anymore. He might have scrubbed it from the internet. I did not watch it on YouTube. I watched it on like some proprietary website that Lanny Pator was hosting his reviews on. And that website very well could be gone by now. So yeah, there you go. Little bit of history right there. I followed up the joke explanation, and YouTube likely silenced me. What? What? Oh, it was literally me just screaming, gore, blood, tits, gore. Blood, tits, gore! Yeah. Yeah, as far as I can tell, he made like 2 reviews. He reviewed a Final Fantasy anime that was really dorky and a review of Berserk, which I loved that review of Berserk because I had already watched HBI 2K's Berserk Abridged series and was immediately entranced by Berserk. And then I watched it as a teenager and I just thought it was like magical and bizarre and like depressing and horrifying and did all sorts of things. I had a lot of like strong feelings about that original anime. My thing about that original anime, though, that original Berserk anime, the one with the meme music, the one with like the wonderful animation, the stellar voice acting, the one that is so beautifully put together, I get so mad thinking about it because I'm like, that shit ended at the worst time. Like, that shit ended right before it actually got really fun and good. Like, I like that anime just fine, but God, the rest of Berserk lights up after the anime ends. Like, that's when, like, the real adventure begins and Guts starts going on his revenge quest. All of that was just, like, set up for the revenge quest, and that's cool and all, but man, incomplete. And I think that's why people get so upset when, like, that one Berserk anime came out and it was just another rehash of the story that we already know. And then there was an attempt to continue the story, but the animation was just so bad and terrible and just, ugh. I get it. People get, like, really exhausted waiting for a manga to get a proper anime adaptation, and they just fuck it up. It happens more often than you think. Even the Junji Ito one, I know a lot of people talk about that Junji Ito anime as like, it's not even that bad. It's just kind of like, it's just okay. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. It's just okay. It does not capture the actual vibes of a Junji Ito manga. Like, the stories from Junji Ito mangas are not especially great. It's more about the vibe that they give off. Some of the stories are downright stupid and ridiculous, but you need to buy into that ridiculousness in order to follow along with the vibe the story is giving off. The weird, dreamlike, nightmare-like story. And if you focus on the literal, you're just gonna sit there being like, this is stupid. This is a dumb thing that I hate. You thought those screams were made? That's fair. I think a lot of my voice acting training came from people like Lanny Pator. Like, when I was younger, I would listen to, like, Dragon Ball Z Abridged and a ton of Abridged series, actually. And I was always trying to, like, mimic that style. I mimicked Nostalgia Critic. I mimicked Abridged series. Anything I could to be half as cool as Lanny Pator. What's that fool up to these days? I hope he got into some voice acting. Like, more than just doing the Dragon Ball Z Abridged series. Is that series, like, over? I am ashamed to admit that I stopped watching after a while. I stopped watching after, like, the best part of Dragon Ball Z was over. The Frieza arc. People tell me the Cell Saga is great. I haven't seen it. I'm not about to tell anyone that they're wrong. But you're wrong. The best part is Frieza. Not an anime viewer nor a manga reader. I greatly respect them because they always make ridiculous things look cool through action alone. It's true. It's true. Yeah, if you were to describe a anime story to someone, you would probably be very bored and unenthused. It's mostly about the execution, you know? Okay. That's good. That's good. I think something else that I love about anime is the way they can make their art look both cartoony and also detailed at the same time. It's a subtle artistic bend to their to anime style that lends well to more like dramatic stories, you know? Because Western animation is, or I shouldn't say animation, Western design is, we're trained a lot more to just make stuff look very cartoony. And cartoony ain't bad. It's not bad. I'm not saying that, but it is harder to convince other people to get into animated series. Like, for God's sakes, like Western cartoons, when it's like selling itself as like an adult show, like, oh man, you gotta watch this like adult cartoon, it comes off so fucking forced and annoying. I love plenty of stuff on Adult Swim, but also I don't, because so much of Adult Swim is just about like 90s gross out aesthetic. I can forgive it because it's like, it's going for a vibe, but it's not the, I don't like that. Looks weird. Anyways, what I like about anime is that it's like it's trying to legitimize animation without having to overcompensate the way that Western cartoons do. They'll take like a kiddie art style and then make them drink and have sex and murder people, right? Like, that's what so many adult cartoons do. Which is the most like surface level, barely even trying to be creative with the format, kind of solution to the problem that I've ever seen. And it just gets like so obnoxious. What I love about anime is that they unapologetically just make a cartoon made that's appropriate for, appropriate's not the word, made to be enjoyable by adults, you know? And there's no level of insecurity to it, you know? It's just made. They just do it, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no attempt to try and, like, convince the audience that, like, no, you need to take this seriously because, like, it's a super adult thing, and like, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like I'm just watching a show. I don't have to think about the fact that it's animated. And I love that. I really do. I want more legitimate animation for adults nowadays. And the thing is, I complain, but it does exist. And it exists in the West, too. Castlevania, lovely series. I only like the first few seasons. The last couple seasons kind of stunk, but whatever. That was still a solid series while it lasted. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. People tell me that one's like really good. Honestly, I haven't seen it yet, but it's getting a lot of glowing praises. Yeah, we're getting a lot of good like adult animation. I will not include Rick and Morty in this because I feel like it is just doing the same shit where it's like, oh, it's a cartoon, but it's all like edgy and stuff. South Park is the same way. Simpsons is kind of the same way, but older Simpsons was different. Older Simpsons felt closer to what I'm talking about, where it's like, it's a cartoon, but it is like, you know, kind of edgy, but it's not so obvious and explicit the way that like South Park is. South Park has a goal. They have like a mission where they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't even say, hi there, Milos. Hi there, SNB. 6 stars. I don't know if I've fully said your name out loud before. And yeah, it has been a while. Welcome. I'm ranting about cartoons. Yeah, oh yeah, you talked about Blame before. Yeah. I mean, like, not every anime or manga is going to be your thing. But I grew up on it. It's my preferred media, I guess, both anime and manga. It's just my thing, but it's not everybody's thing. And I think the reason for that is that it just boils down to style. You just have to think to yourself, like, okay, am I going to vibe with this style or not? And you will or you won't. All right, Cone is a part of this, so... Oh, shit, wait. Boop. Yeah, I did already draw Theta here. And he turns around, and she's like... And then he goes like... And then that's the end of the cartoon. Right. All right, I know I'm missing... Yeah, Cone. Cone has some frames here. Remember when I saw a clip from an anime at the age of 10 and went to see the comments because it was in my language? Everyone here clearly never watched an anime and wondered why there was blood. Oh, gosh. Oh, by the way, Wub, no, that comment you wrote earlier, I just saw your Discord post. That did not get deleted. No. I think I just got lost in the scramble somewhere. Sometimes I'll, like, lose someone's comments just because there's, like, a chain of comments. So I'm not ignoring you. It's just sometimes I'm already talking, so I get lost in both my thoughts and the chat. So yeah, no, that comment, it did not get deleted because I do remember seeing it when I scrolled back up. Horror animated content. That's true. That's true. Fright Crewin on Peacock and Hulu and the new Spider-Verse short. Oh, there's Spider-Verse shorts? I certainly can't watch them here for copyright reasons, but I'll need to look them up, I guess. I believe one of the Simpson writers, showrunners said, don't write for an animated sitcom, write for a sitcom that happens to be animated. That's... I just have to assume you guys don't hear that. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I think that if you were to approach writing anything, just think of it as a story. Now, I am writing for a fantasy comic, so like the way I'm writing it is with the mindset of, okay, this is a comic, right? So sometimes I'll even have jokes in there that work a lot better as a comic. But as a matter of fact, hold on, I wonder if I can like create an example of that. And what a great opportunity to showcase my webcomic. But yeah, like, definitely don't go into writing something with the thought of, like, oh man, this is, like, this is for kids, or this is for, or like, this is a cartoon, or something like that. Don't be so insecure as to think that a cartoon has to have a very specific vibe to it. It's just a medium. It's just a way of telling your story. But through that medium, there are creative things that you can do with it, right? Like a comic, for example. Keeping my fingers crossed for the new African mythological horror short that's currently being crowdfunded. Yeah! Nah, man, I'm good. I've just been just streams a lot and have one of the more censored people for some reason, even though I mostly basic shit. All right, where was, oh, yeah, it was, I had this thing where he was like, oh, brother or sister, and then it's just like, neither. And I wrote it in the script that it was going to be like just this tiny little box with like the character and like their big scary goblin hands sticking out like that. Yeah, jokes like that, and also jokes like this, which are more conducive to a comic of just like, you know, of course, friend, tell me how vacation will end. Doom! Just having the same background twice. It's also sort of an animation joke, having like a shot hold where one shot is a little more calm and then the other one suddenly just bursts out. Looking at this now, though, I probably would have added a little more effect to the doom part. Oh yeah, something else about my comics is I'll throw in a little bit of color now and then. Producer Eli Roth, Cabin Fever, and... Wait, is Eli Roth making the African mythology horror shorts? Or, excuse me, it's produced by Eli Roth? Eli Roth? Yeah, okay, that kind of checks out. He is a horror guy. He would have money. I mean, the movies he made were successful. I may not really like a lot of them, but they were successful for a reason. Also, this is a section of the comic where this character, Cone, encounters these two guys that try to sell them. One sells bacon, one sells vegetables. The meat guy calls the vegetable guy Captain Carrot. Good time, wholesome. And then Cone takes the bacon, slices up the tomatoes, takes some bread, slices up some lettuce, an onion, and cheese, and he makes a BLT. And this was a thing. This comic is based on a D&D campaign that I did. A lot of it had to be changed and edited, though, so it would work more for, like, a conventional story. This bit right here, though, definitely 100% happened pretty much how I put it in the comic. Like, some of the lines were changed around a bit, but yeah. This is my character. I walked up to this stall with these two guys arguing, and yeah, I created peace by taking the meat and the bread and vegetables and making a BLT, and they were better for it. And then I made some shit joke like this, and then they got mad at me, and then they charged me extra. Oh gosh. This particular page on Webtoon was not nearly as popular. I would have to assume that's because nothing really happens. This is just like a weird joke I put in as a page. But hey, I don't care. Whatever. Oh, and this is a scene where a woman gets, or a whittle girl gets grabbed by a big hand, and the mom is not so plussed about it. Anyhow, yeah, that's my comic. I just wanted to look at it for a second. I was hoping I would see more jokes that were written for the. Oh, well, there's this one. So I was storyboarding this bit where Orazog is looking for a book. And he's like, please, old brother, I must go searching. Under Father Felian, I learn the ways of inner peace. And I have it written in the script that he reaches deep into a backpack. But while I was storyboarding this bit, I just thought that this looked really weird. The way he sticks his hand into a perfect cylinder bag. And so I just have this shot of Cohen being like, oh, well. I remember I was in a library at the time having a panic attack while I was drawing this. And I just thought to myself, like, man, this looks like really weird. And so I made a joke using the fact that I knew it was a comic. Also stuff like this, like faraway perspective. You have the foreground and then the background. And I use that quite a lot, honestly. This is the longest fucking page I worked on, by the way. I say page, it's more like a strip, I guess. Well, maybe I could argue as a web page. Anyway, yeah, that's my comic. That's my comic. I want to wrap up what I was doing so I can go to Silent Hill 1 again. Yeah, produced by Elon Roth. No, Fright Crew co-produced. He was matured away from his earlier horror movies. He surprisingly is good at kid-centered horror fantasy, like House with a Clock in the Walls. Really? Because I heard that one was not actually good. But, I guess I never really saw it. This 2000 story I mentioned earlier is something I've been working on in my head for years now. I never considered myself a writer, but I really do want it to be good despite its simplicity. Fair enough. So comics are great for time travel, rewind stories. For example, look up Rogue Sun issue 7. Oh, I have to buy it? Gross. Get out of here. I'm gonna look at one page of this. Oh, wow. Wow. I hope you guys, can you see it? Can you? Wow. I'm looking at the page right now. Amazing. He looked like Black Panther, kind of. I see a big tentacle. Wow, Desu. I can't put this on my stream. Too hot for TV. I love the little detail Fright Crew has in its backgrounds. It's perfectly dark and gloomy, but also cheesy in a fun Goosebumps kind of way. Yeah. God, Goosebumps is absolutely a thing I kind of want to get back into. I kind of want to appreciate again. God, you know what's the most frightening thing is, I am finished now with chapter 1 of this comic, And now I'm faced with a very real reality of printing out Chapter 1 of Worlds of Stage and trying to sell it at conventions. This is something that, like, a couple friends of mine have been imploring me as, like, a really good idea, and I should definitely do it. And they're not wrong. I get that, because the best way that you can advertise yourself is if you can sell it physically, which some people are not provided that luxury, but I live in a place where there's, like, lots of conventions that go around. So if anything, I need to use my privilege that I have been so kindly gifted to go and sell my wares in, like, a physical space at, like, conventions or at events. You know, because it's a hell of a thing to ask people for money for your works, but I think I'm a damn good artist, and I think the story is actually very fun. So I can see its warrant as a story and a piece of media. But man, it's tough. It's tough to also just be a salesman. But it's reasons like that why I make these cartoons as well. I'm trying to, like, you know, build interest on these characters. Some of the background seriously give me the good shit horror point and click 90s games. Ooh, that reminds me of you mentioned Goosebumps. Are you talking about the one that one Goosebumps game? I think it was called Fright Night or something, where it's like a point and click adventure game and it has like live action actors in it and stuff. And I personally did not grow up with it, but I know a lot of people that have, like, major nostalgia. What was that game called? I swear there was a Goosebumps thing, but I can't actually articulate what it was. I want to say it was Fright Night, but I think that was a different game. Hope you guys don't mind me saying I'm not really a big fan of Goosebumps. I mean, hey, you know, it's really, really corny, so I understand. I'd have to restart this whole drawing. It's just not working, damn it. That's what you gotta do sometimes. Sometimes you really just need to, like, pack it in, start over, try again. And yeah, it can feel really demoralizing, but it's just what you have to do. Sometimes you're, like, trying to force a drawing to work, and the best thing you can do is just start over. Just start over. Don't even worry about it. I had a teacher in college talk to me about painting and how he would get to a point with a painting where he feels like it's just not working anymore, and he's making all these, like, little, like, detailed changes, all these, like, small little changes because he thinks that's going to help. And what he started doing instead is, if he felt that a piece of art just was not working at all, is he would take a big paintbrush, cover it in, like, red paint, and just go and just hit it with a big red X so that it's ruined. And now he's like, okay, I have to work around this now. And that's a good thing. You need to force yourself to think outside of these, like, tiny details. You need to make major changes. And if you put a big red X over a physical painting, now you have to work around the red X, which forces you to get out of this pattern. It forces you to make big changes. And I get that. And I wouldn't probably do that, but I understand the sentiment of it. You know, start completely over. Don't recall the title anymore, but I remember watching this other show involving a boy and his sister finding themselves in a huge paranormal mystery with many episodes that I often mistook it for Goosebumps. That sounds so familiar. I don't know what that is. Mainly my reason why I don't like Goosebumps as much. Because you had another show. That's fair. Yeah. No silly stuff at all. Listen, when you come to my stream, all right? No silly stuff. If If you start acting silly, banned. Banned. And you may be saying, oh man, Dreddy's acting awful silly right now. And I swear to God, if you say that, banned. As in rubber band, as in I'm going to wrap you up in 900 rubber bands until your blood circulation turns off. Banned. It's not what you meant. Oh, sorry. Sorry, fair enough. You know what? My mistake. Maybe I should be banned. There was an episode of Goosebumps where like zombies there was like an evil curse on a town or something, and zombies, like all the people of the town were turned into zombies. And it wasn't like oh man, they were infected by a disease. It was definitely like a weird mythical curse thing. And they were the two kids. I remember like the main plot almost perfectly. The two kids, it was like a boy and a girl, brother and sister, I think. They were like, oh man, we gotta stop the thing that's putting the curse on them. Oh, we gotta figure out what it is. And they were like, oh, there's this like wreath or something that's in our house. That's what it's actually cursed. That thing is cursed. We gotta get rid of it. So they like pick it up and they destroy it. I think they throw it in a fire or something. And they were like, we did it. We destroyed it. And then they turned around and they see like their like aunt and uncle who they're visiting, and they became weird zombie people. And the aunt like looks at them and says like, you destroyed the only thing that could protect you. And I was like, I was just like, that's the most nightmarish. I think that's how it ends too. I think it ends with like, okay, they just die. They get eaten by the zombies or something. But God, man, what a crazy twist. I wish I could remember like what the name of that episode is so I could look it up again. But yeah, no, got so wild. So wild. I remember being like actually very, very scared of that episode. But my sister at the time was like, what? This isn't scary. You're stupid. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for invalidating my fear. Are you afraid of the dark, maybe? Maybe? Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, that Are You Afraid of the Dark was a little more, like, serious, but just a little bit, you know? Are You Afraid of the Dark would have a lot more, like, visceral endings, I remember, where they would imply that, like, oh, the kids were, like, died or tortured, or they were, like, thrown into another dimension or something. Who is messaging me? Oh, it's my boyfriend who's wonderful. Gosh. Guys, my boyfriend fucking hates school, and that makes sense. I'm back, got lunch. Welcome back. It probably was the show I mentioned, but my lazy ass doesn't feel like looking at him. No, I mean, fair. It very well might have been Alone in the Dark. Both shows I thought were pretty good. Both shows were still made to be, like, appropriate for children, I feel. But Alone in the Dark, I think it was setting out to be a little more actually scary. Like, Goosebumps was based more on the books, and I think the books wanted to have a silly bend to everything. Whereas Alone in the Dark was more like, no. Horror. This is a horror show, you whore. Like, I think in the first episode... Oh, no. I'm wrong about this. I'm wrong. I was going to say, I swear in the first episode of Alone in the Dark, they had, like, these two boys get kidnapped by, like, a crazy taxi driver, and I think they just straight up die at the end, but no. I think they actually survive that. But they almost do. They almost die, you know, and that's just as good. It's a hole! It's a hole in the bucket! Cone's head is too big, or is it? Maybe his hat's too big. Sometimes I do that. I make the hat too big. Hat's too big. Hat's too big. Hat's too big, and it hits the door when he walks into the grocery store. Almost is not good enough. Mario, what are you even talking about? One thing I remember about Goosebumps is JonTron nitpicked this one clip with the girl turning around a whole 270 degrees just to point at it. Yeah, I do remember that, yeah. That was really weird, honestly. Because the scene is meant to be, like, dramatic. You can hear, like, the strings rising as if to say, like, you know, oh my god, they're doing the big reveal, oh crap. And then she does, like, this weird fucking... She wants to go this way, and she goes, like... Do you see that hill? Do you see that parsage, she says. I'm amazed he didn't bring up that, how her, like, Canadian accent started sticking out. I was like, why are you not resetting, you piece of shit? Why am I not surprised, you piece of shit? Almost is not good at Mario! Why are you mad? I actually only recently learned where that quote came from, the like, why am I not surprised, you piece of shit? I put it in my Little Mermaid review, but the only reason I put it in was because it was in a Spoonie video, and I thought it was funny. Or wait. I think Spoonie made reference to it too, but actually, come to think of it, I think it was actually I think it was a meme that I was already that I saw in like a YouTube video or something. Excuse me, in a YouTube poop or something. But anyways, I recently figured out what movie it came from. And crap, I can't even remember the movie now, but it was this really, really dorky Michael Bay action movie. And I swear, I might look it up in a sec. If you ever love really corny action films, I honestly recommend it. I know Michael Bay is supposed to be the devil and stuff, and he ruined Transformers and all that, but honestly, if he was famous for anything, it better have been that movie, because that movie was so damn goofy and funny. It also felt like every video game in the world was inspired by this movie. They have like a shootout on minecarts. They have like turret sections and stuff. It's really strange. And apparently this movie was very influential and was one of those like late 90s action flicks that got like a bunch of awards and clout, and everyone was like, wow, this is the best action movie. It was a real like Guardians of the Galaxy for its time, where it would pave the way for how action movies would be going forward. The same way Guardians of the Galaxy would kind of set the baseline for how they were going to approach Marvel movies from then on out. For better or for worse, I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy. 1 and even 2. I never saw 3. I heard 3 was still pretty good, but yeah. I don't quite like what it did to the rest of the Marvel movies, because I really struggled to enjoy those. The game's just playing itself, John. The game's just playing itself. The game's just playing all by itself, John. The game's just... I love that. I love those videos. I love old JonTron. It was so iconic. Then I remember the same thing happens in original Resi 4 with the first villager, Lamau. In trouble is not a location. I'll tell you what you are. You're in trouble. God, I remember he's like, okay, well, let me just like pull out my map here. All right. So there's me. And here is, well, let's just call it In Trouble. All right. Well, now it just seems like we're putting things together. Man, that was like one of the primo times for JonTron, because he had hopped off of Game Grumps. We were now starting to get used to Danny being in Game Grumps. JonTron had like hit a new stride. He went straight back to doing like game reviews like he did before. He did game reviews, movie reviews, all this shit. There was like a solid couple of years where his content was just what I would consider perfect. I was so happy to just see him like back in his stride. Those, if we were to call them seasons of JonTron, that would probably be like the best seasons of JonTron. Premium stuff. 10 out of fucking 10. And even nowadays, I still kind of like JonTron stuff, even though it comes off like a little half-assed. But that doesn't change the fact that I loved his videos. All of them. Pray for my boyfriend again. He is so done with college. He's been working on a animation for a while. It's like he's working in Blender, but he's trying to make it look like stop motion animation. And it's mostly working. A lot of what goes into it is texturing and like frame rate. You know, there's a lot of like texture tricks you can do to make it look like it's clay. And honestly, I think he's been doing a great job. He's been showing me the progress reports. You love the 2007 Transformers movie. I did not really care for the first Transformers movie. I will not lie to you. I laughed my ass off watching Transformers 2. I thought I watched Transformers 2 like probably 3 times when I was a teenager, the prime age for it. I thought that shit was hilarious. And then I got a little bit older and people started hating it. And so I was like, all right, you know what? This is kind of stupid. And to be fair, yeah, it's really stupid. So I'm not about to defend it or anything, but I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I did laugh. I did laugh while watching it. Also, hi, Amer. Well, hello. I'm going to be playing Silent Hill in like a little bit. I'm almost done with this. Wyoming, more like I'm going. What? The Rock! The Rock! Shit! Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I love that movie. It's so stupid. The first Shia LaBeouf Transformers is alright. Everything after that is straight up hot garbage. The worst one is the first. Yeah, the Marky Mark Transformers one. I didn't even bother watching that. It didn't look good, like at all. The logic of the whole movie is terrible. Biggest one, why is the film trying to justify a 17-year-old girl dating a dude in his mid to late 20s? Was she 17, the Megan Fox character? Or is this the... No, this can't be the Mark Wahlberg one because Mark Wahlberg is in like his 40s. Do you think Rian Johnson is the new Bay? No. Like, if he didn't do Star Wars, I doubt many people would bother watching Knives Out. No, because Rian Johnson was already an established director. He made Brick, which maybe you haven't heard of it, but Brick was this really awesome and popular for the time detective story where all the like, it was like a noir vibe, but everyone was like a teenager. It was fun. That sounds like kind of corny, and it was. It was a fun, corny movie. I'm not gonna say anything about Brick. You watch it. You watch it. I thought it was really fun, but I just found it on a whim. So I feel like if I describe anything about it, it'll trash the experience. I say definitely check that one out. And I don't think Rian Johnson's an idiot or anything. I think he just, like an artist does, he approached it with a very strange state of mind for a Star Wars movie. I think the guy's very clever at writing and directing, and Knives Out, and Knives Out 2, proved that he is competent. It's just whatever he was doing with Star Wars was a mess. A mess. I don't know. Maybe you haven't heard of it. Have you seen Brick, dude? Have you seen Brick? I feel like you would like Brick. It kind of sort of reminds me of Danganronpa, but maybe I'm just saying that because it's a noir thing. Okay, is Cone done yet? I'm bored. What does a drawing glove look like? I have one around here somewhere, and I refuse to look at it because I don't use references because I'm an idiot. No, but I do say maybe you haven't heard of it because I don't know like how much it lasted in people's minds. But I do remember that it was popular when it came out. It's one of those movies like Almost Famous, where when it came out, it was like a huge deal, and people were like, this movie kicks ass, this rock, da-da-da. But like, the older I get, the more I'm like, who talks about Almost Famous anymore? Is it considered a cult classic at this point? I don't know enough people that like say that it's still like really good. Or movies like Little Miss Sunshine. I love Little Miss Sunshine. Maybe that one's considered a classic, actually, because I saw it for the first time just on like TV, probably around the time it came out on DVD. But then I saw it again in film school, so Little Miss Sunshine's probably considered a classic, just for that reason alone. I like the second and third movie, but nowhere near as much as the first one. That was also a good John Travolta. Let me catch up to the chat. The daughter in the first Mark Wahlberg Transformer. Oh, okay. Totally, okay. She implies to still be in high school and is dating a street racer in his 20s, and the movie's trying to make it seem fun. Yeah. Here's the deal. Like, you could write a movie where that is a conversation to be had, sure, but why is it in a Transformers movie? Because, like, I'm thinking about, like, the movie Lolita, which was, like, a way, like, heavier bend on what you're talking about. But I am not against the idea of just having a story where you would address something like that. You would talk about it, because that's something that just happens in life, right? But a Transformers film, like, why? That's so weird. That's weird. That is definitely weird. Usually a sucker for movies with unusual concepts. Yeah. Have you heard Thick as a Brick? What? Jethro Tull album that's like an hour long that my dad made. No. If I was over at your house more, then your dad probably would have forced me to listen to it as well. Thick as a Brick, a Jethro Tull album. Is it good? It sounds like it wasn't, because you had to tell me it was an hour long and you were forced to listen to it. You have to on tablet now. Oh, you switched to tablet, did you? Well, this movie we gotta buy. Man, I nailed reading that. Pretty much no dialogue. Oh, perpetual nuclear rain. Ugh. Because he's the only character in the movie. Ugh. Super problematic because the daughter and the racer are heavily involved in the second half of the plot. The stupidest scene is incredibly product placement heavy scene. Ugh. People remembering, like, Little Miss Sunshine when Cuties came out, because Miss Sunshine's beauty pageant is mocking stuff like sexualizing minors. Yeah, I think you spelled minors wrong, but yeah. Stay away for your safety. I distinctly remember when I came over to your house and your dad talked to me about was it a Bolivian opera singer? No, he was a pianist. And I wanted to say he was German, but I think he's not. That I actually, by some coincidence, just already knew who he was, and your dad talked to me for like 45 minutes about it. Honestly wholesome, but yeah, I can see how that wears you down after a while. Mark Wahlberg crashes a spaceship into a Miller Lite truck. Oh, I did hear about, I saw this scene as well. I saw a clip or something. Both him and the driver get out to argue, and Mark jugs a Miller Lite with the logo in full view as they argue. Yep. Yeah, I've seen this scene. And it was a great scene. Very good. Yep. You know what they should have done if they were going all in on the product placement thing? They should have argued, and then one of them pulls out a Miller Lite out of frustration, probably the driver, because he has experience with this. And he says, Mark, hold on. Wait, hold on. Mark. All right, I'm better. Here, take one. And then they would have been friends. That's what you should have done if you were, making an ad for Miller Lite. Have an argument where you crash a spaceship into a car, common occurrence, relatable AF, and then resolve it by drinking a Miller Lite. Not sponsored by Miller Lite. I don't drink beer. Oh, gosh. What the fuck? So I meant chugs of beer with the logo in full. No, I know what you meant. Oh, wait. Also, the eye line is... Yeah, when I was sketching this, the eye line was not great. Heavens me. Mine is still wrong. Although he's definitely looking up at her. It's that I feel like her eyes are not looking at him. Right, where do her... Right, okay. They just need to be a little bit lower, I think. Yeah, okay, that looks about right. I just need to redo this so that the in-between reads a bit better. Great, okay. And then, actually, Cone, you go over here. I just need your head. I don't want your head overlapping with shit. Who was I talking to yesterday that was like... Oh, I was talking to my friend about The Last Jedi. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I don't hate it nearly as much as everybody else does, but I for sure understand people's frustration with it. Because, yeah, very, very weird decisions. I will say, though, if you're going to do anything for Star Wars, implying that you're going against the whole, like, oh, the dark side versus the light side, and setting up something to do with, like, oh, maybe there's somewhere in the middle we can meet. Maybe Kylo Ren isn't completely wrong, and, like, maybe we can have a discussion without it just being a matter of, like, who is evil and who is good. That's what I thought they were setting up with the whole, like, Rey and Kylo romance thing. And I thought, you know, going about it this way, making it like a romance, that's pretty good. That's a good way to do it, especially for a Star Wars property that's more about, like, the romantic space opera kind of nonsense. And they set that up, and it did not pay off. Not even in its own movie did it pay off. So, yeah. Sad. Disappointed. That's what I'm more hung up on. And also that weird shit where they drove a ship through hyperspace to cut through a ship. That was like a neat visual and everything, but man, the payoff, the lead up to it happening took for goddamn ever. This takes place in Hong Kong, so China propaganda on top of it. Okay. Is it Chinese propaganda if it just takes place in Hong Kong, or was there something else to it that made it Chinese propaganda? Have you seen those wild animations on Twitter about dinosaurs fighting with swords? Yes! On top of, with over-the-top choreography. Yes! And they specifically fight with Devil May Cry blades and Devil May Cry fighting styles. I'm gonna head off. Bye. Bye, little Vic. Take care. Hope you figured out the leg thing. Going to watch The Iron Claw later on Blu-ray with the fam. It's a biopic about a real-life professional wrestling dynasty called the Von Erich family. Very regal. It consisted of a father and his 5 sons. The only one alive to this day is the eldest son. Very interesting. Dilthosaurus. Ay caramba. Hey, Hayden, why don't you just completely redraw the hand? Yeah, I too like to waste my fucking time. But also, if I can avoid redrawing assets, I try to. Not only for like, you know, oh yeah, it saves me time, all that. Sometimes it's not even true. Sometimes it doesn't save me time. But I want visual consistency, which is especially important in animation as well. You want stuff to, you know, look relatively the same in motion. Even if some of that sameness is, it comes down to like the arm shape or something. Oh, I don't like the neck too much. Okay. Okay, that's probably good. I remember one guy burst out laughing when the ship crashed into the other in the theater. Turns out the dinosaur games becoming a full game. Oh, pardon me. All 4 of the eldest son's brothers all unalived themselves from the stress of the wrestling industry, and failure to live up to their expectations set by the father who got them in the business. Oh. Want a neatly effective way of drawing hands easily? Use an egg shape and 5 circles like the utterly psychotic bastard that I am. Listen, man, you draw characters with like toe beans, okay? I don't. Listen, man, you draw toe beans. Hey, everybody, look at Wub, who draws toe beans. Okay. Pardon me, it actually goes this far. And I think that's it for like the detail sketch. Oh, well, there is a thing in the background. Oh, right. I gotta take this. And I gotta, yeah, right here, 4 theta. Yeah, good. Wow, that actually lined up perfectly. Great. Oh, my interest is piqued. Let me see this. See this animation for what it is, so that anybody watching this VOD at the very least can appreciate what the hell I was even doing this whole time.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot what I just to set the beginning and the end. What is the end? Let's just call it 40, 23, 38. Wow. 39, I was so close. Okay.
And believe me, I doesn't even begin to describe this one. It's very strange.
My interest is piqued.
Really?
Yeah.
You said that with a complete dead face, so I can never tell when you're being serious.
My interest is piqued.
Okay, don't do
that. Is that better?
Nope, that wasn't better. Let's get into it. And believe me, I doesn't even begin to describe this one. It's very strange.
Wait, let me actually turn down the
And believe me, I doesn't even begin to describe this one. It's very strange.
My interest is piqued.
Really?
Yeah.
You said that with a complete dead face, so I can never tell when you're being serious.
My interest is piqued.
Okay, don't do
that. Is that better?
Nope, that wasn't better. Let's get into it. And believe me, I doesn't even begin to describe this one. It's very strange.
My interest is piqued.
Really?
Yeah.
You said that with a complete dead face, so I can never tell when you're being serious.
My interest is piqued.
Okay, don't do
that. Is that better?
Nope, that wasn't better. Let's get into it. And believe me, I doesn't even begin to describe this one. It's
all right, very good. All right, I will end this and I will move on to Silent Hill. Can I change my title even when I'm streaming? Like, is that just a thing I can do without much hassle? Without much asshole? I think I can go in and I can just like change it. Yeah, okay. Okay. Do I want it as 2 separate streams? I like the design of that character with the with the conical hat. That's why he's named Cone. Yeah, his name. The samurai guy. His name's Cone. I can change the name midstream. Movie time. See you later. Bye bye. I can change it midstream. Yeah, because I might just change it to Silent Hill. Although, for the sake of the VOD, I'll probably just start over. Okay, I'll do a stream in like just a sec. I'm gonna warm up some food for myself, and then I'll start a new one in like just a little bit, where I'll play Silent Hill 1. So yeah, get excited. Bye bye.